Hello, my name is Zarmeen and I'm submitting this video application to be considered for admittance into the Qualia Structure Summer School. I'm currently a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for Psychedelics and Consciousness Research at Johns Hopkins University. I am a neuroscientist by training, and my work has been primarily in the field of psychedelic neuroscience, in which I have looked to understand the mechanistic basis of serotonergic psychedelic action, specifically its therapeutic action. And in graduate school, I actually used various ex vivo and in vivo electrophysiological techniques in rodents to measure synaptic plasticity in specific brain regions and at the circuit level. This work really sort of familiarized me with various quantitative analytical methods, such as those canonically used in the analyses of LFP and EEG data, such as spectral analysis, levels of complexity, so on and so forth. Now, in my postdoctoral training, I am really beginning to sort of forward translate to understand the therapeutic effects of psychedelics in humans. And as I do this, I've come to find that the subjective experience is actually immensely important in psychedelic outcomes. I find that many participants seem to describe their experience as very dreamlike, and actually their acute experience might share some qualitative components similar to those in dreaming, such as the way people experience color, sound distortion, and even emotion. So very, very interesting. Though there are still some important distinctions, such as maybe the contribution of bottom-up sensory input to the integrated whole subjective experience in these altered states of consciousness, for example. So you can see that this has all gotten me very interested in understanding the subjective experience at a deeper level. And it's actually prompted some questions about these altered states of consciousness that I will be lucky enough to explore some of them in my postdoctoral training, such as what is the mechanistic basis for the varied subjective effects across a host of psychedelics? Because we find that some psychedelics produce very different subjective effects compared to others. What gives rise to different components of subjective effects during dreaming? And is there actually convergence in these mechanisms? So now, in order for me to be able to appropriately form and test hypotheses to answer these questions that I now believe are fundamental to my understanding of consciousness, I do need to understand subjective experience better, and subjective experience in the theoretical and computational framework in which consciousness exists with IIT. So by attending this summer school, I'm not only going to be able to gain knowledge in the phenomenological aspect of subjective experience, but also learn more about the possible neurocorrelates of consciousness and learn advanced methodology to help empirically test my sort of mechanistic interests and some of these questions that I have. I also believe that I do bring a unique perspective to this summer school as a psychedelic neuroscientist who has done both clinical and preclinical work. I really do approach the study of science in general with a very varied perspective. And I am looking to be in a highly collaborative environment with motivated individuals so that it can ultimately increase my rigor and the critical way in which I approach the study of consciousness. So thank you so much for considering my application.